America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me in times of bad. When the day comes and you're down, and I'm in trouble, and I'm about to drown, just hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. I'm on my way. You get cold, yeah, I will be your cover. Don't have to worry, 'cause I'm here. Don't need to stop, baby, 'cause I'm here. Just hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. Look at it. Reach out to me for satisfaction. Yeah. Look at here, Dave. That's all she got to do. Call my name, yeah. Fuck the reaction. Yeah, yeah, Now don't you ever be sad. Lean on me when the times are bad. When the day comes and you're down, baby, the river trouble and I'm about to drown. Just hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, don't you worry, I'm coming. Here we come. Hold on, I'm saying I'm coming. Hold on, don't you worry.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Good evening, America. Good evening. Good evening. That is the bell of liberty calling all of you students of liberty into class tonight. The doors of the Conservative College are officially open. Grab your beanbag, say hello to your neighbor, and pop a squat. I am your humble neighborhood, friendly, fluffy professor, Professor Toto, and it is 8 o'clock Central on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Mississippi, just outside of New Orleans. And we are thankful tonight to have you here in our humble little college. And it's here where we restore common sense and we help you fight the great fight of liberty. I'd like to welcome Shelley Penn and Charles Phillips and Beverly Engel and Zolia Olivari and Amy Lee Carmoni from Texas. Good evening, Mr. Morrell from the Bahamas. Good evening. Kelly Hill and Doreen Anaquich. Good evening. Hello, Adam Wingo and Diana Hernandez. Good evening, Bob Tabor from Beaufort, Georgia. John Berlin and Cindy Riggs, Sandra Savignon, Ange Girari, Victoria Carter, Dawn Welch, Robert McLeod. Good evening, T. Collins, Gidge and Aussie and Beck 1900 and Jody Lee Hatch, and oh my Lord, Danny Praise, and Shelly Rose, and Salty Sandy, and D Flood, and Lady Fish, and Risings, and Jean M. Good evening to every one of you. Kim Reeves from Brandon, Mississippi. Hello, Emil Ways, and Jay Calibo, and Patriot Concerned, and Baba 85, and Kim Wenzel Reed, and Judy Colson, Denise Way, and James Corzine. Good evening to all of you great patriots out there. Brother Matthew Pass from the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Mr. Beautiful, Janice Hardy, Natalie Conway, James Corzine. Good evening, Brother Gary Ames from the state of Texas, and Gigi Marino, Ohio. I love Ohio as well. Hello, Margaret Hernandez. Well, seems like we've got a little bit of a, give me 1 second. I need to get rid of a bot. Give me 1 second. Bye-bye, bot. Well, welcome, everybody. Come right on in tonight. We have a great class. James, get your beanbag. Yin Law from Illinois, and Sister Denisa Eaton. She just returned home from Oklahoma back to Mississippi. So glad that you had a safe journey. Once again, so very sorry for the loss of your brother. We give you our love tonight. Nelson Carmona from Miami. Hello, Nelson. Dennis Santiago. Jill Sydock and Brother Norm Sydock. Robert McLeod. All right, before we get started tonight, let's get a sound check and a camera check. They said the video is a little blurry tonight. Well, I wonder why that is. We've got a good internet signal. Hello, Brother Nathan Owens. Good evening. Y'all need to hurry up and get home. We're sure missing you guys. Video is blurry, but the sound is good. Well, I don't know what to do about the blurry video, but oh well. As long as you can hear us, that is all that matters. Karen Fisher says, I see you fine. Thomas Shiflett said, we look fine on YouTube. Pam Moore. All right, so maybe it's just Deanna Presley. I can't wait for Tabernacles. Neither can I. All right, well, we're going to move right along tonight. We have a lot to talk about this evening. But thank you, Brother Alan Trost. Good to see you and Katrina tonight. It looks like it may just be blurry on Facebook, but it looks like YouTube is streaming it okay. If you don't know how to find us on YouTube, let me give you real quick the link to find us on YouTube. If those of you that are right there, there's the QR code. You can look for First Harvest Ministries on YouTube and go there and maybe get a better picture. We are also on FHTV.tv. You would get a good picture there, FHTV.tv. So I just saw some heartbreaking news I want to talk to you about real quick. There we are on Rumble for those that's trying to find us on Rumble, QR code, or you can search in Rumble for First Harvest. YouTube for First Harvest Ministries. Heartbreaking news from the state of Michigan. All my Michigan people, say hello to me. All my Michigan people. All my Michigan folks. Do I have anybody from Michigan tonight? You just got heartbreaking news in the state of Michigan. Hello, Maureen. LaQuire is from Michigan. Hello, Maureen. Good to see you tonight and all the LaQuire family. Noel Hartzog in Michigan. Hello, Duke. Janice Hardy's son, giving you a shout out tonight. She said it's your first time to watch the Conservative College. You are welcome here. Hello, Kelly Gale. Jill Sydock is from Michigan. I want to talk about this heartbreaking news in Michigan. It really broke my heart. I read it moments ago. U for I. Give me, y'all, I have a lot of bots tonight because, give me 1 second. I'm sorry for the filthy language there. They did a hit piece on me today on Right Wing Watch and on several other news channels about my review of the Barbie movie. And so it's brought a lot of haters out tonight. So anyway, so I'm trying my best to keep up with them. Okay. In the state of Michigan, I'm going to share the news with you. Your governor, Witchcraft Whitmer, has signed a bill 3 hours ago banning conversion therapy for your young people. She signed a law that makes it a crime to ask a young person, are they sure that they want to change their sex? To ask a young person now, to counsel with them, to simply say, are you sure? Do you really want to do this? Is now a crime in the great state of Michigan. Wow. Wow. That one took my breath away. A lot of the political stuff don't really take my breath away. That one hurt my heart. That's our children. I don't know what's going on in Michigan. Where are the Patriots? I don't know. I know you know what? I know y'all are fighting hard in Michigan. I know you are. My good friend Christina Caramo there, the LaQuire family, so many wonderful people in Michigan. But do you know that every Democrat representative in the House there voted for that bill? It is now illegal to even ask a child, are they sure? To discourage them in any way from mutilating their bodies is now a crime. Let that sink in a minute. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to wake you up. Our nation's in trouble. Our nation's in real trouble. Wow. Wow. It's really just heartbreaking. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. Thank you, Jill Sidock. Jill said she'll be hearing from us. I hope she hears from a bunch of you in Michigan. I hope that your representatives hear from you. Or will you just, just wake up tomorrow and do your thing? I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. But I am trying to say something has got to give. Michigan, for those that think I'm exaggerating, let's go read the law. Let's go read the law. Michigan is the 22nd state to outlaw conversion therapy, which aims to convert LGBTQ plus people to heterosexuality or traditional gender expectations. Medical organizations have denounced the practice as harmful. Not mutilating your body, that's not harmful. Not making a decision as a child. I don't know what happened. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. When I was a child, we wasn't allowed to make decisions on anything. We just wasn't. Thank you, Maureen LaQuire. Call your representative tomorrow. I mean, when I was a child, we didn't even get to decide what was for dinner. But now it's harmful to try to convince a child to think about what they're doing. Let's keep reading. Here's what Witchcraft Whitmer said. As a mom of a member of the community and a proud lifelong ally, I'm grateful that today we're banning the horrific practice of conversion therapy in Michigan. Now, here's how they describe conversion therapy. Any practice or treatment, now for right now, it's by a mental health professional, that will soon become even by the ministry, mark my words, that seeks to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, including but not limited to efforts to change behavior or gender expression, or to reduce or eliminate sexual or romantic attractions or feelings towards an individual of the same sex. Can I break that down for you? For anyone to reduce or eliminate sexual attraction to the same sex is considered gender conversion therapy. To just tell a young girl, now God said that that's not natural. To even tell a young boy that that's not natural. To tell a young girl that that's not normal. My question is, when did children get to determine in our society what is normal? I'm heartbroken. Do you hear me? I am heartbroken tonight. When did children get the right to determine what's normal in society? When I was a child, we had to ask, but now if a parent finds out that their child is sexually attracted to someone of the same sex, it is now a crime to say that's not normal. And by the way, there's no religious exemption in this law. The day's going to come, folks, if you don't take your children and run and hide with them, you won't recognize them. I know I'm being a little low key tonight, a little melancholy. I get it. I'm supposed to be here to encourage you, but I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for our children. If I lived in Michigan tomorrow, my representative, I would be demanding an appointment, not just a phone call. Folks, I'm telling you, Michigan's not the only state. According to this article, 22 states. The ban, now notice this. The ban does not apply to counseling that provides assistance. Y'all ain't going to believe this. Let me show you. I'm going to show you the article. You're not going to believe what I'm fixing to read to you. This article stopped me in my tracks tonight. I was just about to start my show. I'm going to talk about Hunter Biden tonight and a lot of other things, but this one got me in the gut. The ban does not apply to counseling that provides assistance to an individual undergoing a gender transition, as long as it does not seek to change the gender identity. So the ban is not for those that are encouraging the transitioning child. It's only for those that wish to discourage. Man, anyway, I've got to find a way to move past this. Thank you, Zip. Have a good night. I've got to find a way to move past this tonight. But this one here really really messed me up. All right. Moving right along. Moving right along. There's very few times I could cry. But when I see what Satan is doing to our children, well, all right, where's my notes? I've got other stuff to talk about tonight. All right. Tell you what, folks. Can I take a little commercial break? Thank you. I'll be right back.
The volatility of the U.S. dollar is a harsh reality. We've seen the stock market come across ramped losses, even over the past 20 years. There's a need for an alternate financial strategy. How about gold or silver? Welcome to God's Money. With the PSI Security Platform, you can build your wealth and secure your future with precious metals that withstand the test of time. Gold and silver are the secrets the wealthy have used to accumulate and protect their wealth for decades. God's Money works with a team of world-class experts to deliver rare, high-quality, unique precious metals at impressive prices. Don't have the money to invest in silver and gold? No problem. Join our Coin of the Month program. With this amazing program, we will send you a little silver on a monthly basis. Consider this opportunity before it's too late. Act now. Go to www.godsmoney.info.
Because I'm voting for a man named Donald Trump that has pledged to end this sickness, to reverse some of this stupidity. So no, I'm not without hope tonight. I just had a moment. All right, we have a leaked document that I want to break down for you tonight. A document has been leaked, ladies and gentlemen, from a court. And this document comes from the courtroom of Judge Norika. Who is Judge Norika? She is the one that shut down the sweetheart deal of Hunter Biden. There's a lot going on with that story that I think you may not understand. So, it is Professor Toto's duty to pull back the curtain on all these liberal lies. Let's go to that courtroom and find out about a leaked document that came out earlier today. Now, the news broke yesterday morning about Hunter Biden, and he was expecting yesterday morning, they were expecting to walk into they arrived in a Delaware federal court on Wednesday morning, yesterday, expecting that in a few short hours, he would walk out a free man with full immunity from prosecution for a wide range of criminal conduct, ranging from gun and drug charges to foreign influence peddling. His expectation when he walked in with his suit and his slick hair, he walked in there without a care. He walked in there with a blank stare. He believed it was going nowhere. But ladies and gentlemen, his expectation was that his deal would be insulated from any challenge from a judge or from any prosecutorial change of heart under any future administrations. Hunter was no longer going to be hunted. Hunter was no longer going to be hunted. No, Hunter was going to walk into court, smile a while, and say goodbye. He was scheduled to go outside and speak to the press when it was all said and done with his broad Biden smile, but instead he met justice. he met Judge Mary Ellen Norica. And she was about to say these words to the prosecution: Eureka, from Judge Norica. I'll tell you more when I come back. I plan to break it all down for you. Let's see what the mainstream media had to say.
About the same ethics standards as he does.
News out of Wilmington, Delaware, from the Hunter Biden plea deal hearing.
The federal judge overseeing the case put the deal on hold after raising concerns about the scope of the agreement, forcing the president's son to plead not guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes.
As the deal fell apart, Hunter Biden appeared increasingly upset. The hearing laid bare a critical disagreement between U.S. Attorney David Weiss, a Trump appointee, and Hunter Biden's legal team over whether the plea would close the door on future charges for other possible crimes. Weiss has said consistently the probe is ongoing.
Judge Noriega asked the prosecution if there was an ongoing existing separate investigation into Hunter Biden right now. The prosecutor saying yes. And what was holding this deal up, and they're in recess now because the defense asked for some time, so the judge granted. What's up in the air is whether or not Judge Noriega will even accept this deal, because this deal would possibly give Hunter some immunity to future charges, and she's not okay with that.
Someone made a bad mistake here. Am I wrong looking at this, saying that these someone, whether it be Hunter Biden's defense or prosecutors here,
how could there be such a big miscommunication?
I cannot even begin to explain how the Justice Department walks into that courtroom without knowing exactly what the scope of immunity or coverage is for Hunter Biden. And equally, I cannot even begin to understand how Hunter Biden's lawyers walk him into that courthouse without knowing exactly what the constraints, what the limitations of that deal are.
And I can just tell you, with extensive conversations with the Hunter Biden team, that they were only going to agree to plead guilty to those tax charges if it came with this immunity, so they could say everything else is put aside.
The judge also had constitutional questions on how the gun charge would be handled. In the plea agreement, the charge would be dismissed if Biden remains drug-free and commits no additional crimes for 2 years. A plea deal is still possible. The parties have 30 days to answer the judge's questions before she makes a decision.
So the judge said that she could not accept the plea agreement as it was structured. Remember, there was a plea agreement where Hunter Biden would plead guilty to 2 tax misdemeanors and then a diversion on a felony gun charge. Well, the judge taking issue with both of them, saying that on the plea agreement related to the tax charges, she was saying that this agreement as structured just had her, as what she said, a rubber stamp. It's also on the gun diversion. She had questions about how that deal was structured because it inserted her in the process if Hunter Biden breached the terms of this agreement and the government had an issue with it. They wanted the judge to act as a neutral arbiter because they cited the political nature of this investigation and of who Hunter Biden is. So the judge saying she wasn't sure it was constitutional for her to have a role that could interfere with the Department of Justice, the executive branch's decision to bring a criminal case.
The 3-hour hearing in the courthouse behind me was extremely dramatic and tense. I was sitting for the most part of the hearing about 20 feet behind the president's son, and you could see in my view that he became increasingly anxious and somewhat agitated as it became clear that this plea agreement on the tax and the gun charge was in jeopardy. Just an extraordinary scene that unfolded in the federal courthouse behind me, and just based on the demeanor of the president's son's legal team and Hunter Biden, one of a lot of disappointment. Hunter Biden left court and did not comment to reporters as originally planned.
I bet he didn't. Judge Eureka Norica, congratulations, ma'am, on a brief moment of sanity in the United States of America. Well, Professor Toto has gotten a hold of the transcripts of the entire event, and I plan to break it down for you now so that you will be educated when you're talking to your people. You know, your family and friends that think they know things. Well, Professor Toto does. I know about paragraph 15. Do you know about paragraph 15? You're about to learn all about it. Well, Judge Eureka Norica, she smelled a rat. She saw from the beginning that this plea deal was very unusual. It caught her eye, and she said these words, and I quote, from the transcript, ladies and gentlemen, from the transcripts, just to get a little Rush Limbaugh going here. Yeah. From the transcripts, we bring you the words of the judge. She said, there are some provisions in these agreements that are not standard and are different from what I normally see. So, have you ever seen, she asked, have you ever seen a diversion agreement where the agreement not to prosecute is so broad that it encompasses crimes from a different case? I want you to hear her question. She looks at the prosecution and she says, something's different here. Y'all thought I was just a little, a little judge out in the country maybe that didn't know what I was looking for. You thought you were going to slip a fast one. But I want to ask you a question. She said, have you ever seen an agreement to not prosecute from a different case? In other words, they made this so wide-ranging. In paragraph 15, we're going to read paragraph 15 in just a moment. Oh, yeah, remember, truth may be a long time coming, but when it comes, it don't take long. When the gumbo pot, anyway, I digress. Now, the prosecution responded to her, no, Your Honor. And he wanted to talk, and she looks at him and says, you can sit down. And sit down he did. Now, Judge Norica knew that the lawyers were trying to paint her into a corner and then hide the ball while forcing her to rubber stamp an absurd bargain that was highly unusual. Joe Biden's Department of Justice colluded with Hunter Biden's legal team, the DOJ, and then Hunter, the citizen Hunter Biden. Isn't that what the press secretary said he was? He's just a citizen, an average citizen. Oh yeah, one that rides in 6 black SUVs to go to court like he is the president. No, he's not a normal citizen. Anyway, they collided with his legal team to craft a one-of-a-kind, unconstitutional plea agreement that they were hoping a federal judge would rubber stamp and they could walk out smiling. But sometimes Lady Justice opens up her eyes. After a few simple questions yesterday, the federal judge rejected the plea deal, and now the case will go to trial. And now, instead of pleading guilty, he has pled not guilty, and the deal is off the table, and that throws him back into preparing for trial. Now, here's what that means. New charges may be forthcoming. Now, I want to show you how that this judge picked apart this plea deal with surgical instruments, exposing the contradictions of the defense counsel and the prosecution. Now, I'm going to break it down for you, okay? There are 2 types of plea agreements. 2. One, in the Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, is 11C1A, if you're taking notes. In the Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, 11C1A is the most typical plea agreement. That's the ones that you and I would get. All right? Typically, if the government is offering a defendant to either drop the charges or decline to bring new charges in return for a guilty plea, the plea is structured under 11C1A. Now, pleas under this subsection are subject to what? Judicial approval. All right? So if a judge believes that the government's decision to decline prosecution or dismiss charges is unconstitutional, in 11C1A, the judge can reject the plea agreement. But in Hunter's case, oh, no. We didn't go with Rule 11C1A. We went with Rule 11C1B, as in bad boy. Well, what's the difference in A and B? A world. What's the difference? A world of difference. Now, they were worried about this Trump-appointed judge, Judge Eureka Norica. They were worried that she might reject such a broad grant of immunity from prosecution in return for the guilty plea. So as a result, they file under Rule 11C1B, which normally is just a plea agreement in return for a non-binding sentencing recommendation, which does not provide any ability of a court to intervene or reject the plea. Break it down, Professor Toto. Thank you, I will. 11C1A, rubber stamp, go in, the judge reviews it, they approve it. 11C1B, it needs no judicial review. It just gets a rubber stamp. Now, let me break this down for you. They filed because they knew there could be a possible rejection. They filed an agreement not to prosecute Hunter for any further crime in this plea deal. Normally, in a plea deal, it's only to do with crimes that are part of this story. Crimes that are part of this event. But no. In the wording that the judge noticed, they were giving him immunity. See, here was the only way that they could basically give him a presidential pardon without Biden having to do it. I need you to listen close. I'm going to show it to you. All right? Joe Biden cannot pardon. He can legally. He could pardon Hunter Biden right now, legally. If he were to do it, it would be the end of his presidency. That's why he'll never do it. But that's okay. Joe doesn't need to give him a pardon as long as we give him a pardon without it being a pardon. How do we do that? We give him a plea deal against all future crimes. Wow. What a great plea deal. Now, they hid this in paragraph 15. I'm going to explain it to you. They buried this in a separate pretrial diversion agreement. Publicly, the pretrial diversion agreement was described as applying just to the unlawful possession of a firearm. That was the public image. That's what they wanted the judge to see. It only had to do with the possession of a firearm charge, right? But that was a lie. Included in the agreement was a provision hidden in paragraph 15. And here's what it said, and I quote, that he was being protected from prosecution for, and I quote, any federal crimes encompassed by the statement of facts. You may not know what that means legally, so let me explain it to you. They have what's called a statement of facts. In that statement of facts, anything written in those facts is included in the plea agreement. Now, Here's what was in the statement of facts. Remember, publicly, he was just getting a plea agreement on a gun charge, but not in paragraph 15. Oh, no. Evidently, they thought Norica could not count to 15. Maybe they thought she would be drinking that late at night, not read all the way to 15. But here's what it said. Y'all not going to believe what I'm about to read to you. In paragraph 15, in the statement of facts, they mention every possible crime that could ever come up in the future. Now, publicly, this is an agreement for the gun crime. But in paragraph 15, it says, and for anything stated in the statement of facts. Let's go read the statement of facts. Number one, Hunter's role with and compensation from Burisma. Oh, my. That has nothing to do with a gun charge. It gets better. In the statement of facts, remember what they said, I quote, for any federal crimes encompassed by the statement of facts. And here's what's in the statement of fact. Hunter's role with Burisma. Pardoned. Yeah. In the future, if this ever comes out, Hunter is pardoned without a presidential pardon. We want to give him a presidential pardon, but we know that would end Joe's chance to win the White House, so he's not going to pardon him. So we're going to pardon him this way. Truth may be a long time coming, but when it comes, it don't take long. Number two, what else was in the statement of facts? Are you ready? Hunter's role with and compensation from Chinese private equity firm Bohai. Okay? So if anything ever comes up about China, that was in his plea agreement. Man, this is a backwards presidential pardon is what this was. But see, Donald Trump is the gift that keeps on giving. This is his judge. Oh, man. Next, what else is in the statement of facts? Another Chinese company by the name of Harvest and another one by Rosemont, and then Hunter's holding company called Owasco, Hunter's consulting firm, Rosemont Seneca, and any other aspect of Hunter's web of business relationships were all listed in that statement of facts. Publicly, he's only making a deal for a gun charge. In paragraph 15, he was making a deal on anything listed in the statement of facts. In other words, if Hunter were to complete his probation, this pretrial diversion agreement would prevent the Department of Justice from ever bringing charges against Hunter for any crimes relating to the offense conduct in the plea agreement, which was purposely written to include influence peddling with China, Ukraine, and everywhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a presidential pardon backwards. And they were trying to shield Hunter from the Trump administration that's coming next. Oh, yes, they were putting everything in the little plea lie. And the hands got caught in the cookie jar. They got real close. They were still too far. But Judge Norica, smelled a rat. Oh, yes, she did. She understood they were trying to paint her into a corner. Long story short, Hunter Biden will still face his crimes. That's long story short. Amen? So, oh yeah, slapped down by the judge. Sharon Hypes, you are correct. Hunter's attorneys must have thought the judge was stupid. Well, of course she was appointed by Trump. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not over until God says it's over. Have no fear, American patriots. The truth is coming out. The dam is ready to burst. And this nation will be so ready for the return of her rightful president. Now, there's more to the story. Are you ready for the rest of the story? There's so much more. There's a bigger scandal. The Republicans in the House of Representatives filed an amicus brief with the court. If you don't know what an amicus brief is, it's basically a statement given to a judge to give that judge more background when they're considering a sentence. Okay? It would be like someone that you know of has done something wrong and you're a friend of the court. You send a letter and you give your, something for the judge to consider in his sentencing. All right. Well, that's what the Republicans did. They filed an amicus brief in Judge Eureka Norica's courtroom. And what did that brief say? That brief said, hey, Your Honor, before you approve this deal, are you aware of whistleblowers that have testified before Congress and said that Hunter is still under investigation? We want you to know that there's a whole boatload, that there's a friend, Devin, next week that's about to spill even more beans, and you're about to make this man free from all of those consequences. That's called an amicus brief. They filed it with the court, all right? Well, long about 10 o'clock the next morning, the attorneys for Hunter makes a little phone call to where? To Eureka Norica's courtroom. They call the clerk of court. And what do? Fraud. Perjury. They attempted to defraud the integrity of the court. They said, hello? Yes, this is a Republican representative so-and-so, and we filed an amicus brief yesterday, and we would like to withdraw that brief. Thank you. Really? An attorney did that. One of Hunter's attorneys lied to the court and withdrew, and the court withdrew the amicus brief by the House of Representatives, and the judge found out about it, and she is now demanding sanctions against these attorneys. Why? Because that gumbo lid has a pot on it. And when that steam gets to the top, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to blow. You see, everybody loves a mystery story. We all love a mystery story, right? Now the public is smelling a mystery. Not just the Republicans now, not just the MAGA people, the public, even the mainstream media is beginning to smell a mystery that something is up with Hunter Biden. We smelled it 3 years ago, did we not? The whiff, the savor is just now drifting out into the streets. They smell it. They want to know exactly what it is. Wait till Devin Archer makes his testimony next week about what he heard on phone calls. The Democrats now know that the dam has broken on the news of the shady business dealings of the Biden mafia crime family with their influence peddling operation. They impeached Trump for Joe Biden's crimes. When I come back in 30 seconds, I'm going to give you my monologue tonight. I am going to show you step by step how we got here where we are today. And I want you, when I get back, to have your listening cap on. Get all your children real quiet. I want you to listen as I unravel the yellow brick road for you in 30 seconds.
Considered when you spend your money at these mega corporations where it's going? Are you aware that your hard-earned money is being used to support political corruption, which leads to poor federal leadership, hurting our economy, contributing to the overall detriment of our society? This is heavy stuff to think about, I know, but it's time we fought back. Introducing Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club. Here, we are a club that gives you the power to invest in companies that uphold patriotic and conservative values your family can respect. Rather than spending your money with these major corporations, we've partnered with a direct consumer company that offers over 400 high-quality, sustainable, and effective products that can be delivered fast directly to your front door. So many patriots across America has joined us in this walkaway movement. Now it's your turn. Go to www.buybuywalmart.com to join Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club today.
Have you ever been with someone that's abusive and they antagonize you, torment you, drive you crazy, and then step back and say, "You're acting so crazy"? I don't know the term for that. Is it gaslighting? What is it? Is it, there's a term for it where someone literally drives you insane and then calls you insane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is what's happened in America. And I'd like to break it down for you tonight. All of the mainstream media calls you and I, anyone that loves truth, a conspiracy theorist. Oh, y'all are so conspiratorial. Well, passive aggressive, mental abuse, narcissist, gaslighting. There we go. So you and I have been gaslit by the mainstream media. And I want to prove it to you tonight. How did we get here? How did we become what they say we are? How did we become these truthers? How did we become what we were not 3 years ago? There was a time, just like a wife that you've driven her insane, there was a time she wasn't insane. There was a time we were not conspiracy theorists. There was a time when we were not far right. What brought us there? Can I show you? Let me do it tonight. I want to show you where it all started. First of all, to turn an average American into a conspiracy theorist by your label, here's all you need. Here's the only thing you need to do. Number one, you need a chronic government that stonewalls every reasonable request for transparency. That's all you need. You need a government that's chronic in denying transparency. Okay, before you denied us transparency, we were all pretty good with our government. How many of you remember a time in your life when you sort of trusted the government? You know, I remember when I didn't. I just lived my life. But if you give us that kind of a government, you're setting us on a pathway so that you can step back and say, conspiracy theorists. Now, the next thing you need to add to that is officials of our government that lie under oath and then give us blatantly unequal application of our laws. There's three things right there. Our government's denying our request for transparency, the officials of the government lying under oath, unequal protection or application of the law. You're putting us down a road that we were not on. Now, add this: the weaponization of investigations and intelligence bureaucracies. Now, finish that off with the transformation of the media into a mouthpiece for the state. There we have about 7 things I just named that you can throw these on us and then turn around and scream, "You conspiracy theorists. We would not give you transparency. We lied under oath. We gave you unequal application of the law. We weaponized the FBI, the DOJ, and all the intelligence bureaus. We turned the media into a mouthpiece of the state, and now you are a conspiracy theorist." Okay, whatever. Maybe I am what you turned me into. And presto, what do you wind up with? A skeptical, cynical public that learns to believe the very opposite from what you're telling us. You created us. You created whoever we are, far right, alt right, whatever, always right. Far right, alt right, and always right. Somebody put that on a t-shirt for me and make sure I get the commissions. No, I'm playing. Listen, folks, you can't push us all the way right and then call us alt right. Let me give you a few examples. Let's talk about January the 6th, okay? Now, the mainstream media insist that was an insurrection, okay? We say it was a political rally that went bad. All right, we have 2 opposing opinions here. An insurrection and a rally that got out of control. Okay, whatever you want to believe, insurrection, rally gone bad, whatever you want to believe, why would we not believe that it was just a rally gone bad, given the efforts of the state to hide the facts? I'm going to give you a few examples. One reason is that there was evidence of the FBI informants present on January the 6th. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we know they were there. All right. If you come back and tell us they were not there, and we know they were there, you are forcing us to become what you want us to become. The New York Times reporter Matthew Rosenberg said about January the 6th, he did not know he was being recorded by James O'Keefe. He admitted, from the New York Times, he admitted that there were FBI all throughout that movement that day, or that group of people. He said that he spotted numerous FBI informants among the crowd milling around the Capitol. He said there was a ton of FBI informants among the people who attacked the Capitol. Now, if that is not true, surely the FBI could categorically deny under oath that they had no informants there that day and that they were not part of it. But see, that did not happen. Christopher Wray, the FBI director, you would think he would categorically deny that, right? Let me tell you what he said when he was asked under oath if they were there that day. He said, and I quote, "Well, I really need to be careful here talking about where we have or have not used confidential human sources." All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know they were there. We were told they were there by people that were speaking off the record. And then the FBI does not deny they're there. So what are we supposed to believe? Let's go even further. Let's talk about Mr. Ray Epps. Y'all know Ray. Now, the interesting thing about Ray, he was called a person of interest by the FBI, supposedly inciting demonstrators to enter the Capitol. But then, oddly, even though he was a person of interest, for 30 months he was not arrested. while other people were being loaded up in the carloads, being arrested simply for misdemeanor stuff, but not Ray Epps, for 30 months. Now, Ray Epps is on tape, and we believe as an informant, saying what? We need to go to the Capitol. No one was headed to the Capitol. Ray led them there. And Ray is on tape, the FBI has that tape, instigating those people to go and rush the Capitol. Now, if you don't believe me, Epps texted his very nephew with these words, I orchestrated it all. We have the text. The FBI has the text. Now, the next thing, I'm going to show you why we're a conspiracy theorist. The next thing is that the state lied publicly about the amount of deaths that day at this great insurrection. At first, they said that Officer Sicknick, his tragic death was due to the violence. They lied. They know they lied. An autopsy revealed that he died from a stroke. Then, the Democrat leaders claimed that any law enforcement officer present on January the 6th that committed suicide was a victim of January the 6th. So they had officers that committed suicide, and it was our fault. All the while, the only person that lost their life that day was a military veteran, an unarmed military veteran by the name of Ashley Babbitt. Talk about Ashley. Why don't you talk about Ashley? Because we are conspiracy theorists? No, I've just went through several things about January the 6th. Lying about FBI informants. What about Ray? Why did you lie about the deaths while ignoring the only death that truly happened that day? You suppressed the name of the police officer that shot Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed citizen that was trespassing. So yeah, you create suspicion and then call us too suspicious. How typical, right? It's like a cheating wife or a cheating husband. You can't send out the vibe and then get mad that I'm picking up on it. That's exactly how we got here. We didn't want to be this alt-right, always right. You turned us into that, and now you want to label us what you created. Now, let me show you why we are the way we are. Because all of this great insurrection that you're still talking about, if anybody touched a police officer on January the 6th, they're going to prison. However, you could club an officer in 2020 in the summer of love. Yeah, Antifa, Black Lives Matters. You could take and club a police officer. But unlike January the 6th, the violence of arsonists, murderers, rioters, mobs resulted in 1,500 injured law enforcement officers. Yeah, we're alt-right, always right. Don't tell us about an insurrection when yours in the summer of love injured 1,500 police officers. 35 violent deaths in the summer of love. And you want to know why we are the way we are? Why we question? Why we investigate? Why we hold judgment until we know? Because you had 35 people killed in your summer of love. $2 billion in property damage. $2 billion. You had 14,000 people arrested and let go with misdemeanors or either nothing at all. Now, these 2020 rioters, they targeted iconic government buildings, just like the state capitol. These were government buildings that those people targeted, and you said nothing. You felt sorry for them. You made us who we are. And now you want to label us what we are. Did you know that those rioters attempted to burn down a federal courthouse? No different than the state capitol, than the federal building. They burned down police headquarters, a historic Washington, D.C. church. And did you also know that those rioters attempted to attack the White House? Did you know that? Do you not remember when the Secret Service had to bring President Trump into the bunker because of BLM rushing the White House? But that was not an insurrection. Don't tell us what we are. You don't like us because we know you. You can't stand that we don't buy what you're selling. Lies. I could go on and on and on and on. What about your committee to investigate January the 6th when you would allow no Republicans on it except Liz Cheney and Adam Kiss My Behinder? Trump haters is all that was allowed on your committee to investigate Trump. We see you. Don't label us because we found out who you are. I want to tell you about the true. I want to show you how they deflect, how they call you what they are. I want you to hear me tonight, Patriots. Don't go to bed yet. Wait. I want to show you how this abusive husband called the government has convinced you that you're a conspiracy theorist, when in fact, that's what they are. I'll prove it. I'll prove it. There was no Russian collusion. It was what? A conspiracy theory. Would everybody not agree with me? Even the mainstream media. The dossier, was it not all a conspiracy? That, if you want to know the meaning of a conspiracy, the Russian collusion, Donald Trump in a motel room with prostitutes urinating on them and them on him. And I mean, really? There was a Clinton conspiratorial effort. What is a conspiracy theory? When there's something conspiratorial. Was there not a Clinton conspiratorial effort about Russia? It sought to hide campaign money through 3 paywalls to hire Christopher Steele, to add his lies and to ensure that they were disseminated throughout the media and the government. The point was to emasculate her opponent, Donald Trump. That was a conspiracy theory. Don't call me alt-right. Call me always right. Let's talk about the next conspiracy, the Trump phone call to Ukraine. Now, given the multi-million-dollar corruptions of the Biden family syndicate and the boast of Joe Biden about his past interference in Ukraine politics to fire a prosecutor, any president would have warned Ukraine to clean up its act with the Bidens or face holds in the or face the hold in the American money. Any president, because we now know what was going on with Ukraine and the Bidens. President Trump warned them, clean up your act or you don't get no money. That was all a conspiracy by Sandman and all of these demons. That was a conspiracy. You're not the conspiracy theorist. You're the lover of truth. And what about this conspiracy? Let's never forget this one. That COVID-19 came from a bat when we now know it came from a Chinese virology lab. It was the media and a government-fed lie, and it was birthed that it came from a bat. It came from a fish market. It was a clear result of gain-of-function research financed by Fauci. We knew it from the beginning. We knew that masks didn't work. We knew that the vaccine had not been tested. We knew these things. We are not alt-right. We're always right. And then Hillary Clinton destroying subpoenaed material on her home server, classified information. The reduction of Hunter Biden's crimes to misdemeanors. Why would any citizen believe the government or the media after the Biden campaign solicited 51 intelligence authorities to swear falsely that Hunter Biden's laptop was a product of Russian disinformation? Does anybody remember that conspiracy? The government, the right, the mainstream media stands there and calls you a conspiracist. Does anybody remember the conspiracy of the 51 intelligence officers that said publicly, signed their name, that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian propaganda? What about FBI hiring Twitter employees to suppress information about the Biden laptop? Was that a conspiracy? Was it? Don't call me what you are. Don't try to see yourself in me. Former FBI Director James Comey act like he had amnesia in a congressional testimony, that he passed off a dossier that he knew to be a lie as genuine evidence to a FISA court. Conspiracies? What about Andrew McCabe? Lied on 4 occasions to federal investigators. Christopher Wray continuously stonewalls the Congress. Special counsel FBI Director Robert Mueller preposterously claimed he knew nothing of the Steele dossier. John Brennan, former CIA director, James Clapper, director of national intelligence, admittedly lied under oath to Congress. None of these liars faced any legal consequences. How did we get here? How did we turn into this? Are you even serious? Anthony Fauci's incriminating emails keep appearing in the public domain, making a mockery of his ludicrous claims that he didn't send money to the Wuhan lab. And even worse, those screaming conspiracy theory are conspiracists themselves. Hillary Clinton schemed with dark money and paywalls to smear her 2016 opponent. And finally, election denial. They look at you and scream, you're an election denier. No, you taught us how to do that. Sister Hillary was the very first one, and I quote, he knows he's an illegitimate president. And then Jimmy Carter, Uncle Jimmy, said these words: he lost the election. He was put into office because the Russians interfered on his behalf. They both refused to accept the 2016 election, projecting denialism and then calling you an election denier. Folks, I got to go. My time is up. I love every one of you. May God bless you and the United States of America.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
'Cause this flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA,
where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
That's all, folks. Good night. God bless you.